Kraken Up, the Carpy's podcast, where we talk everything Carpies. Here's your host, Derreck Carpy.
What's going on, everybody? We're back again for another episode of the Karaken Up podcast. We have a special guest today. We have one of our Squid Squad brand ambassadors, Chad Colley, a Michigan sprint car racer. Chad, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Derek.
So the season is quickly approaching. I think you gave me the countdown last week or so. It's about 40 days before your season kicks off. Is everything ready to go other than waiting for us?
Yeah, we actually got a test and tune in. We got 2 test and tunes in, so the car is ready. It's running great.
Awesome. What all goes into preparation from the prior season to the upcoming season? Do you have engine rebuilds, body reworks, chassis modifications, or upgrades?
Basically, what I do is I strip the car down completely, bolt by bolt, all the way down. Send the engine out to the engine builder. These Kawasaki or Suzuki motors, like I run, it's not something that typically I can work on. The metric system on it is, so I send that out, someone that knows what they're doing. And the rest of the car, I strip down clean, check for cracks, weak points, anything like that, and just build it back up, so it's all fresh.
How long does a process like that usually take? Is that something you start as soon as the season ends, or do you start that, a couple months before?
I typically try to start it, right away because Michigan weather is pretty cold. My barn, the race shop doesn't have the best heat system in there, so try to get it stripped down as quick as possible. And then, during the reassembly part, I could take my time and make sure that everything's going right.
Yeah, today here in New York, it's a whopping 37 degrees. As were last week, it was 75 degrees, so we don't know what we're doing here.
Same thing here in Michigan. I loaded up for the test and tune yesterday, and it was snowing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was crazy.
Some snow dirt racing. That'd actually be fun.
It could be. It could be. It was pretty cold at the track.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can only imagine. So your family, you have a family history of racing. I believe we had talked, your father was into racing. Was there anyone into racing prior to your father, or was he the first generation?
He's pretty much the first generation. His dad, my grandpa, he raced little dirt oval motorcycle racing. Nothing
cool.
that I had ever seen or anything like that. Just heard, word of mouth.
Yeah. So what got your dad to get into racing? What was what lured him in?
Well, crazy part is just going to the races. I mean, that's not the crazy part. That's part that gets most people in. But my dad was 8th level engineer at General Motors, and he had ideas to that if he got into racing, seeing how it was, that he could rebuild or build his own frame or change the wing, stuff like that. None of that really happened. He just got hooked on racing.
It's easy to do. How long did he race for?
Oh, see, he got his first car 1989. I think his last season was 98 or 99, so around 10 years.
Okay. How old are you? Did you guys get to race together at all?
No. There was actually one time I was coming out of high school at the point, and he told me, "Go get in the car. You're running a heat race. No practice, nothing." He wanted to make sure that that's something that I wanted to do with my life, and not that I was going to go out there and say this is too scary. I'm not going to waste my money doing this. And he did that, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to get into racing at that point in time. It took several years down the line before I could get in.
Right. And had you ever raced anything prior to that moment, or was that your first experience in any kind of racing? Or his
This
car
is
even.
my first real experience. I mean,
Yeah.
as a kid, I was pretending my moped was a sprint car, or I used to have a Tamiya Blackfoot, and me and my buddy, we built a track, oval track in the backyard, and we used to race those, pretending we were, sprint car drivers or whatever.
That's a pretty wild first experience. Usually people tiptoe into that with like a go-kart or something along those lines, like what are they, bandoleros or something, but you just go straight into the sprint car. That's pretty intense. How did
Yeah,
it go?
see, so my sprint car is it's not the full size sprint car; it's a lightning sprint,
Right.
But we were turning
Yep.
just as quick lap times, basically, as a full size on the quarter-mile tracks here in Michigan.
Mhm.
You ask how the first time went. Well, my first time, I ended up on my head. We were doing pretty good, and we felt like, hey, this is something we can do, and it was just a racing incident, and I made contact with another guy's tire, and I went end over end and destroyed the car.
So were you scared?
I remember at the moment thinking, I'm flipping. It was like I was slow motion. It was weird, and I walked out of the car, and I wasn't hurt. I said my emotions were pretty high, and I looked like the guy from Talladega Nights. I jumped out of the car with my helmet on, looking for the guy that hit me. And yeah, it was just the emotions were high, but the nerves. I guess the nerves were more, what's the wife gonna say? Are we done racing? And
Yeah.
she came back to the pit. She started to help me tear the car apart to get it back on the trailer, and she's like, that was tough, but I can see your passion for this, and I can see how much you love this. But we're gonna do this. We're gonna see what we could do to make this happen. And yeah, so it's great having her by my side, and her seeing that. Yeah, this is really cool, and she has a great time at the races too.
Yeah. And you mentioned your wife. She clearly has a passion for it. Obviously one of your biggest supporters, if not the biggest supporter.
100% the biggest, yes, sir.
Was she involved in like the racing world, like interested prior to you, or was this new to her when you brought her into it?
She had been to a local track, by her hometown growing up. Nothing really. She was never really into racing, and it's kind of funny you bring this up. So last night after the testing tune, we were both out in the barn, and she's taking off the old wrap, and she looked at me and she said, "Who would ever thought this would be me? That I would be in this spot doing this?" And I'm like, "Well, I told you years ago you'd be a great pit wife." It's just it's awesome having her. Like I said, she does a lot for me.
Yeah, that's awesome to see. I know a lot of like wives or girlfriends who weren't like initially into the sport, or like their family had raced. It's hard for them to really get interested or really understand it, because you have to be kind of crazy to spend the time, the money, and just do it in general. So it's cool to see when like families, especially like wives, can be involved to that level and really take interest. Because usually when some like their husband or boyfriend or whatever is racing, that's pretty much the family hobby. Like they don't really have time for their own hobby or interest a lot of the time. So it's cool when that can happen. It's rare for it to happen and continue to happen for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm blessed for sure.
Yeah. What are your plans this year for the season? You guys run at your local track. What was the name of that track again?
Actually, I went to Silver Bullet yesterday for our testing tune, and that we've just actually confirmed with them. They're going to be sponsoring us this year. But I run with the Great Lakes Lightning Sprints, and we are a traveling series. We travel all throughout Michigan, and we now have one track in Ohio that we'll be going to.
Okay. Where at in Ohio?
It is in Findlay, Ohio. So
Okay.
it's
What
about
is that? What is that near?
Oh, yeah, I'm not really sure. It's like a 4 hour. It's like a 4 hour drive from here.
Yeah.
For the maps on my phone, but
Yeah. Because we go out to Ohio a lot for the RC racing we do. So I was just curious if I could tie in the trips together, make one
correct.
whole weekend out of it.
Yeah, I'll have to get with you. It's in August. I know that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll have to get with you and give you the exact location.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be neat. How
That'd be
many
cool.
races? Yeah, how many races a year does that series run? Is it a weekly
Well,
series or?
yeah, pretty much it's a weekly series. For the 3 years that we've been doing it, it's slowly progressing. This year we have 19 races.
Mhm.
And hopefully Mother Nature doesn't involve itself in cancel any of those races this year. But 19 races, so that's pretty much one a week. I
Yep.
think we have one off week where we don't have a race, which I think that'll be a blessing. Actually, that'll give you time to probably fix something that probably needs to be fixed on the car that I don't have at
Yeah.
a different time. But yeah, so 19 races, traveling throughout Michigan. Our closest track is about an hour away. That would be Silver Bullet. They joined us on our team yesterday.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's been
So
exciting.
you mentioned Mother Nature. How many races last year did rain play affect you? I know out here we like half the season pretty much got rained out.
Actually, I think we only lost 2 races last season. Unfortunately, one of those races was coming off. We actually had a 2 week break, so that gave us a 3 week break.
Oh, nice.
Everyone was kind of itching to get back in the car. And being out of the car at that much time, it's it's not that you get rusty, but seat time is seat time, and yeah, to go with the flow every week, I think it kind of helps a little bit.
Yeah. How long have you been with the Lightning series?
I started 2021 is that first race. I bought my car. It was the very last race of the season that they had, and I ended up flipping it. Um, got that car repaired, put it back together, came back, ran the 22 season, and then last year I picked up a new car that it was a game changer to us. The car I had previous, I was lost on setup. Nobody had one. No one ran one. And I bought the new car off my good friend Justin Ward. As a friend, he's helped me with the setup. He gives me what he ran, and I take that as a base setup and kind of adjust it and tweak it to my driving style. And it's made big improvements, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's a big thing to have. I guess not necessarily a team, but someone that you can exchange setup notes with and just general information that has either the same car or the same driving style, and you can it definitely shortens the learning curve because you get a clique of guys who were real like a tight knit group, and they become almost impossible to beat once they really find their groove and start clicking. And if you're not in that clique, you're gonna struggle. So it's definitely good to build a community with a couple guys and kind of build the unofficial alliance, and you'll definitely make ground quickly with more resource for sure.
Oh, definitely. And I'm sure that goes in all types of racing, even down to your RC. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So with all the sprint car talk, the face a sprint car, I guess. I don't know. I'm not a huge sprint car guy, but Kyle Larson, he's going to be heading to Indy next month to run the Indianapolis 500 for the first time. He was P2 in the first practice. What is the sprint car community's thoughts on Larson going to run IndyCar?
My thoughts, not just by myself. It's how exciting. How exciting.
Yeah.
This guy has proved himself in anything he sits his butt in, and then he goes out in this IndyCar and he makes it look easy. So,
yeah.
If he was to come in P1, wow.
Yeah.
That's just all-time great. All-time great, for sure.
Yeah, we were joking on the NASCAR podcast that we do, um, that if he was able to win Indy and then go win Charlotte, he should just retire and just go out absolutely the greatest of all time.
Yes. Yeah, most definitely. I mean, but I don't think he could. I don't think he could. He
Yeah.
would probably end up back in a sprint car or something, Him and Brad Sweet, with the high limit series. It just shows that guy is racing. It's his blood bleeds racing. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, he's incredible. I haven't gotten to, well, I guess in NASCAR I've seen him race, but I haven't had a chance to see him race in any of the dirt racing. We've made it out to a couple of the what is it, All-Star series. The one Tony Stewart was affiliated with for a while. We made it out to a handful of those, and they're definitely awesome races. But we haven't unfortunately gotten to see Larson race in person on dirt. So hopefully this year we'll make that happen.
Yeah, a good place to go watch him would be Eldora there in Ohio, Rossburg, Ohio. He wow, yeah, he's fast. I mean, they're all fast there, but it's just a good race.
Yeah. The original time we were gonna hopefully see him race, we were going to Port Royal. That's only about 3 hours from us. And they were doing, I think it was like Memorial Day weekend. There was some memorial race they were doing, and he was on the entry list, but I think something to do with like a NASCAR weekend ran out, schedule change. He wasn't able to make it, but that track's pretty awesome too. Big and fast for sure. So
those guys, those 410 sprint cars on those big tracks, you're like, how does that work? How do they stay on the track?
Yeah, it's unreal. Yeah, because prior to that, the only track we had ever seen the 410s run was the track near us, about 30 minutes from us, called State Line Speedway. It's like right on the border of New York and Pennsylvania. It's actually, I don't know if it's actually true, but they market it this way, that it's actually on the line. So like half the track is in New York and half the track is in Pennsylvania. So they have like a New York side grandstand and a PA side grandstand.
Sure.
That track was
kind of a cool idea.
Yeah. The only thing with that track is it's not really, it doesn't look to be like very high bite. It's super dusty and slick. So like the racing wasn't all that cool. I mean, the cars were cool and like the whole thing was cool, but the racing wasn't ultimately that great, I didn't think. But when we went to Port Royal, I think it ended up being a photo finish. I can't remember the two guys that were in it, but yeah, I can't think of their name. But yeah, we're not big dirt guys here. We're more pavement racing fans, but we've been dabbling in it more and more each year, kind of traveling it around, visiting some of the tracks and meeting some of the customers, because a lot of the wraps that we end up doing are predominantly for dirt racing. So we've grown to appreciate it more and more over the last few years. So it's good stuff. Speaking of wraps, so we've been working together here for the last few weeks to do our new wrap for you. We're going to debut it on the podcast. How's that sound?
That sounds good to me.
All right, let's throw a little drum roll on it. So this here is the mock-up. Well, I have to play it a couple times here, but so you wanted to add a little more red into the wrap this year. So we were able to accommodate that. I think we did end up going predominantly more blue due to the Carpy's branding colors. But the design was based on an idea you guys had sent over that you liked. We kind of tweaked it, made it our own a little bit. So what do you think?
Oh, I like it. Where I want a little bit more red is my mom. She sits in the grandstands with our little ones, and she said, a little brighter would be nice. Pick your car out more, because dirt track is dusty, and it's to have a bright color for her to look at. And man, you guys knocked it out of the box. I love it.
Yeah, I think it looks sharp. It looks fast, just sitting there.
Well, let's see if we can make it real fast.
um, so so we have the wrap design ready. That'll probably start printing this week, so we can get it out to you. You can get it on before the season starts. Um, so you guys put the wrap on yourself. What is that journey like for you guys? I know that last year was, you said the first wrap you guys put on, did that almost create a divorce for you guys?
Well, no, not really, because I didn't
No.
touch it. She did it all. And and she took pride in it, and it took her a while. And there was different things that she'd learned, putting a wrap on around the rivets, stuff like that, made it easier for her. Is it her favorite job? Probably not. But she'll put it on and she'll take pride in it, and I'll help, hold whatever she needs, because when she starts going, she goes to town.
Yeah. I've only heard horror stories of like husband and wife trying to put on wraps, and I've heard many times that it's almost led to divorce. So I was just curious how it went for you guys. It looked good. She did a good job.
She did. I think it's, for me, my best bet is to stand back and have a beer in my hand and just watch her work. Be there for moral support, I suppose.
Yeah, like we've obviously been putting them on for a while, so we've gotten pretty quick and efficient with it. And people always ask, like, sometimes we'll travel up to like someone's shop if they're nearby, and we'll just go do it there, so we don't have to load cars back and forth. And so we'll get all the questions as we're doing it. But once you get good at it, or at least decent at it, and you understand how like the vinyl lays and the different tensions and what to look for, it's almost kind of like therapeutic to an extent.
Yeah,
just like the process of when it lays right, and always when the final product is done, there's nothing like it.
Yeah, no, my car, they call it arm guard. There's like a bubble. It's kind of like a half fishbowl. And I'm like, this is going to be interesting, And we actually did trim off a little piece at the end that, we just couldn't get the wrinkles out. But hopefully this year it flows a little better for us.
Yeah. Those parts can be difficult, especially I guess you'd call it almost like a 360 curve where it's going all directions are very, very difficult to do for sure.
Yeah.
Even for people who've done it a lot, it's one of the hardest things. It's almost similar to like wrapping like a car mirror where it goes all those different directions. And so what you're doing is you're trying to install that vinyl, a flat thing over a curved surface, and you have more material than you have shape. So it's naturally going to want to create an overlap at some point. So there's definitely an art form to those. But I saw that when some of the pictures you guys were posting. Wow, she actually did a pretty good job going over that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So, along with, so I'm just gonna tell you. I don't know if I've told you. We got a new machine that is kind of changing the game for us as far as our online shops. Typically what we had done is we were taking pre-orders, collecting the orders, and then putting them all into production for Silkscreen. And with Silkscreen, the reason we always had to do like a pre-order is there's just so much setup involved. You got to burn all the screens, set up the screens. So we try to collect a decent amount, run them all together. So it's just not cost effective to print like 2 of them, So we ended up getting this new machine that it's a screen print digital like hybrid. So the white underbase is a silkscreen ink, so it's nice and white and vibrant. But the colors are actually printed on top of that digitally, similar to how like your wrap's printed. So you can print full color, full detail, and you can print like super low quantities of them. So what we are doing this year with we call them online shops now, is they're open all season. There's no minimum to produce it. So they'll be open all season long, and they ship, everyone's individual order would ship between 5 and 10 business days. So instead of the 2-week pre-order and then the week and a half production time, you cut that down 75%. So like if you ordered it on a Monday, it could be shipping that following Monday, and the detail is just like unreal. So obviously we're going to get you guys set up now that we got the design done up. We'll end up getting you guys set up with your online shop so you can start slinging some merch. Another thing we're doing is all the people who are doing online shops this year, all the racers at least, we're going to be printing QR codes with like probably a little picture of the shirt next to the QR code or something that people can put on either their trailers or their car. So when people are in the pits walking around, they can just end up scanning that, take them right to the site and they could just order right at the track. So it's not like you have to personally go tell everyone about it, and then they have to hopefully remember by the time they get home or the morning after or whatever. So I think it'll be a little quicker, more convenient, more efficient for not only the customer to order, as well as us and in the production time to where they can get it and wear it at the track, within a week or so. So
that sounds like a pretty good deal. Change your turnaround time. It's fun.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll have to send you some pictures. We haven't really pushed it hard yet because we're finally getting all the details ironed out. So we'll probably be posting more about it here in the next week or so. But I'll send you some pictures. The detail in the prints is just like ridiculous. Like it's like
That's
screen
awesome.
quality print. Yeah.
The shirts and the hoodies you did for us last year, they were phenomenal. We had so many people that were just like, "Where did you get that done?" They did an amazing job, and so luckily, it gave you a chance to talk about Carpy's. Another thing, and you mentioned that QR code. Now that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
We try every single race. My wife Sheila and I, we walk up into the stands, and I have some Hot Wheel cars, pictures of the car that I signed, and I try to find out a couple kids. We sit down and have a little talk with them. The kids get so excited. I don't care if I'm the worst driver in the world. I'm in a fire suit and I'm in the stand, and they get excited. So to have that QR code to put on, we also have this year the owner. Have you ever seen that the Loud Cup business? He's on Facebook. He's got a cup that blows like a. Okay, so he gave us a whole thing of cups, so I'm going to put the Carpy's logo on those and our number and stuff like that, and then cars. So, handing that out, with the QR code, who knows? The family might say, that was cool of him. We're going to order, some shirts and stuff. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a pretty cool idea. Sweet. So is there anything else you want to recap before the season starts? I'm sure we'll have you on again, probably mid or end of the season, kind of recap how everything went. We had talked about it in the previous episode. We kind of revamped our sponsorship program. It just got too wild. Like everyone was asking for sponsorships, and it's just too hard, one, to keep up with and like be a good partner with. There's so many people, and it's impossible to do. So we kind of re-scrapped it and started fresh. So right now you are actually our only dirt oval racer on the team. Not because we don't want to sponsor any dirt oval people, but it's hard to find like a good partnership, and we don't really want to tie up resources on someone who doesn't want, I guess, appreciate the sponsorship and like have it be like a two-way street. So like we help you guys out with getting the merch set up and the wraps, but then you guys promote the product, like you said, going out in the stands with the QR codes and the products for the children out there. Like those things go far. I mean, there's a lot of people who want sponsorship who have never ordered anything and will never hear from them again after they get what they wanted for free. So
that's heavy stuff. Yeah, I'm sure it's like that.
Yeah. And then, you get people that are upset because you didn't sponsor them, but we had no reason to sponsor them. So, like you and your wife, that you guys do a good job. I know we kind of work together to get your guys' social media game going a little more, and that seems like it's going the right direction. I've seen a lot of followers pretty quickly, so.
Yeah, it's building up. When I first put our first race page together, my settings were set to private, and that was just But me and my wife were foster parents, so we had everything on our Facebook set to private. Just we didn't want any issues caused, that may come from that whole fostering process. And I didn't even think about it to put it on the public when I made that first one, So, so I handed it over to her. That's another thing she does a great job with is our Facebook page and our social media.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. So I'm looking forward to the season, the upgraded social platform, the new merch platform, the sharp looking car. Maybe getting to hang out with you guys if your Ohio trip isn't too far out of the other side of Ohio for us. I know like Cleveland is like 2.5, 3 hours for us. We just went to Bowling Green, Ohio. That was that was like 4-ish hours, 4.5 maybe. But we're down to ride if it's not too far, and we can have a good time.
Yeah, for sure.
So cool, man. Well, it was good catching up with you. We'll wrap it up, and we'll definitely catch back up here, probably midsummer. See how things are going. See if we got anything new to talk about or share. Maybe a couple trophies to display.
That'd be cool. I hope that's the case. That's for sure.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, it's good talking with you, and we'll catch up soon.
All right, sounds
Later.
good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem.